And welcome back to Bitcoin Advisors channel. My name is Chris, bringing it to you here from Westlake Village, California, and happy Monday. And yes, it's my third time recording today. Something's wrong with my microphone, so I'm using my headphones. Anyways, sorry for the delay. We have several major things on the board to discuss. And really, I must really love you guys, right? To get this information out to you. I think it's really important, right? You can make better decisions for your finances and your family if you have better information. Anyway, sorry for the delay. And more importantly, we had a new weekly closure on CMEs, right? Some major things, very major things to discuss that are on the board right now, especially with that weekly closure. CMEs made a lower low for the first time in a very, very long time. And that really set in our bias for the next week to come, the week or two, right? We're got a little bias going, right? And ultimately, we do have a very, very big catalyst on Wednesday. It's called the FOMC meeting. And, most people don't even know when they are. That's why we're going to talk about it. But the first thing is first, let's talk about the most important thing, and that's open interest. Why is it so important? That is all the basically open positions, people going long and short and futures and all the leverage positions, right? Currently sitting at about 10 billion. We had a slight tick up from yesterday, 9.6 yesterday to 10.1 billion. So people are once again, they're buying the dip on leverage, which I understand. That's fair, right? That's what we expect. It is pretty much, a maturing asset like Bitcoin. Open interest should be going up over time as the market grows. Why? Well, essentially what, professional traders, right? They bought in a year and a half, 2 years ago, right? Maybe somewhere around here, and they're spot long, right? And that means they bought spot at a low price. And basically what they're doing is they're using their margin account with leverage to short against the spot position to protect their dollar value. Of course, on their positions, right, they're not in any kind of a concern of getting liquidated. So as they take these short positions off, right, because they're in massive profits right there, let's say they shorted there or there, right? As they take those positions off, essentially they buy in again, and that means they're going to have huge upside exposure, presumably speaking. And that would be a good indication that a macro low is in. And again, working on this theory, here I do expect this to come lower, right? I do expect open interest to have a bit of a lower reset. I wish I could go back in time on this thing. I forgot, I set the dates here. But this is just covering, anyways. Point being, when you see open interest get, maybe down around 8 billion, might be a good indicator that things are changing and some kind of a bottom is essentially getting put in. And again, this is kind of a theory where, the full reset happens, okay? And that's what this indicator tells us. It's safe, again, at least to get in for a pretty big move to the upside at $10,000 move or so. And then we get to play, hey, is this going to be another lower high or not, right? We talked about the 618 fib coming in about 52,000, something like that. And that's where typically those bear traps get put in. So we get to play lower high or not. Is it bearish? Otherwise, hey, it's not a lower high. It's to the moon again, new all-time highs. And hey, we have some fun towards the end of the year. But I don't think that's what's happening, right? I think we probably get a swing down to the downside and then maybe have some fun towards the end of the year. Okay. The other thing I wanted to note, global liquidations, which are over here coming in. I mean, today we had very little very, very little, but Friday coming in about 8, let's see. Well, just you can't compare this candle bar right here to what we saw back in September. That was the September 6th dump, and then the one before that was quite much higher. I think it was like 80 billion on Friday, 40 billion in September was like 60 or 80 billion, and then back in December, the dump, December 6th dump, was like 200 million people or dollars got liquidated. So the liquidations, essentially, they just haven't happened yet. So do I think we could get a bounce tomorrow? It's turnaround Tuesday, maybe. Wednesday, when Powell comes out soft, right, a little more dovish after the, I mean, look at the destruction of the stock market over the past few weeks. Absolutely obliterated, and we're pulling back right now, 205 down on the NAS. And look at this. I mean, we hit this to the measure move exactly, 13,800 off this falling channel. I mean, I didn't trade it, but it's fun to play around with and take a look at. And needless to say, the same thing on the S&P. Measure move hit. Boom, to the T. So anyways, I don't trade those two, but they are a big, tertiary indicator because, essentially Bitcoin is a higher beta asset to the NASDAQ. And the NASDAQ's been the general, leading these markets for years. I don't know how long, but since the coronavirus dump, basically, or even, I'd say maybe even 6 months prior to that. But 6 months to a year, tech stocks have been just absolutely gunning and killing it. So, yeah. What would I say? Fed, Mr. Powell, after all that destruction over the last few weeks, probably going to be a little more on the forgiving side, right? They do want to sustain price levels. And, what is the mandate? Control inflation and make sure we have full employment, right? I don't know. Who else knows what they do, right? But the global leverage ratio is still very high, even though we had a slight tick down today. So maybe a little leverage got taken off the table, but we're still at all-time highs on the leverage, so big wipeouts coming. And then you got the funding rates, which are negative right now. So you're getting paid to hold those long positions, and that's kind of a good indicator we might get a bounce, but we're not even close to, area where a big bounce comes. So we want to see those get a bit more negative. And then you got the fear and greed index, which we've been talking about this. Look, we said, even from the crash back in December 6th, we said this probably takes 30 to 60 days to dig itself out. And now it's looking closer to 60 to 90 days. And we want to see the extremely fearful zone for quite a bit of time, right? Okay. So let's jump right into the Bitcoin price action where all the fun is to be had. And we got Bitcoin on the hourly here, and I'm just going to take off some of these lines and Bitcoin on the hourly. And we did get this move here back above this, and we just had a closure above this wick high, a slight closure. And that should give us a move up to this guy, the purple 200, right in line with this high. And that would set up for some, I think several drives of bearish divergence. What's bearish divergence? Well, RSI is making higher highs and price is making lower highs. And that is essentially what I'm looking at right there. So, yeah, I did draw it out a little bit here. So here's Mr. Blue Box, hourly closure back above this guy, very likely, and that's coming in at 37,637. Very likely gets us a move back to 39,300. But at that point, guess what? It doesn't do anything for the higher term time frames, right? We're still in a downtrend on a weekly. We're still in a downtrend on a daily. It doesn't do anything. So that's a very small move. And typically what you're looking at on a weekly, if you get 3 closures below the major moving average, that's a green 55 on the higher term time frames. That's confirmation of a big signal, market direction, right? And the best I think Bitcoin will do over this week is maybe rally up to 39 or 40,000. The best thing it does. Best case scenario this week. Ultimately, I think we are going to come lower, right? And we're going to fill out this area down here, which is the summer lows, these wick lows somewhere in this region. And I put a nice little blue box there for you. And I'm just going to get this guy out of the way here. Oh, no, not that guy. This guy. And I don't even know why I have that in there. I'll just leave it over there. Anyways, what I'm looking at here is ultimately, I think, we're going to come a little bit lower, get in that blue box, and that's, the summer lows, and that goes all the way back to January. So that's a major support level, and at that point, I would expect a big weekly bounce. But as of right now, we are in the midst of something very, very important, right now. And where's that happening at? On the monthly. On the monthly time frame, which it is one of the most powerful time frames. And again, get off here, my blue little lines. So we're bouncing off the yellow 21, which is good, and the 20 simple. And the monthly, oh, okay, so here's, you know, where I do think people are taking some profits right here, right? People that went short up here, they're going to be closing out, taking some profits, getting a big bounce off this 21. And yeah, we saw this quarterly backfill as well, right? 3 month, we did say, hey, look, if that's the reversal candle, we're going to get a backfill. And we did go right down to the 9 exponential. And we did talk about that. And with just a tick below last month's low, we were going to get a move down to the 9 exponential. So yeah, we just hit that target at 33,000. The question is the low in? So people, you know, shorts are taking profits. Anyways, back on to the hourly, and I would say this, if we do get that move, you know, the hourly looks like it does want to head up towards about 3,800, but, you know, confirmation for me is going to be any kind of an hourly closure above 37,633. And so what would constitute an hourly breakdown? Well, hourly below the range wick low, which is coming in at 32,900, or call it 33,000. And then on a 4 hour, I'd be looking at 4 hour time frame back below 34,830, and what you're going to see is the Stokes are going to cross down. So, and they're going to kind of reject the bullish control zone, which is up here essentially. We're in the kind of mid zone right now, kind of in the, we're in what do they call it, Paraguay, or it's halfway between heaven and hell. I don't think that works. I think you're on one side of the fence or other, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. So I want to be very, very clear. You know, again, there is no talk of a reversal for Bitcoin until Bitcoin on a daily time frame can get a daily closure back above 44,300. And I want to be very clear, okay? So everything below here is just another lower high, and then what do you expect? Another lower low. That's what trend is for. Lower highs, lower lows. That's a downtrend. What's an uptrend? You got higher highs and higher lows. So essentially, just want to be very clear about that, and I do want to represent the bearish case in its full entirety. And so again, what do we have here? The monthly MACD. I'm going to pull up my secondary chart here, and this guy is known as the MACD, and I'm going to pull up one that has a little bit more price history. And why is that? We got the MACD crossing to the downside for the first time since really July of 2018. I don't know if you remember what happened then, but that is a very, very nasty signal. And one other time it happened was, oh, when was that? That was February 2020, right before March of 2020. Do you guys remember what happened in March of 2020? That is known as coronavirus dump time, okay? So this will be valid if, and again, this will remain valid with any monthly closure below 58,000 this month. That's coming up in about 7 days. And well, I don't have a crystal ball here, but I think you know, Bitcoin would have to rally over $20,000 in the next 7 days to uncross that cross. So be keeping an eye out for that, okay? And what I will say though, just to give you a little hopium, a little faith in Bitcoin, you know, I don't think that we'll have any monthly closures below the 200 simple, which isn't on this chart, but I could pull it up for you. But anyways, the 200 simple is coming in between 22 to 24,000 on a monthly closing basis. I do not think we will close below there. Could we get a wick lower than 22 or 24,000? Yes. You know, could we snag that $17,000 gap? Absolutely. But, and what am I talking about? $17,000 gap. And what was I talking about all month? Gap theory, right? Where was the gap coming in on the daily time frame for the CMEs? Where is that guy? Where is it? Do you see it? Let's get all these other indicators off. Oh, look. I don't know why these guys came off. Oh, this is my other chart. That is the 200 simple. I might as well show it to you. On the monthly. Is that the 200 simple? It's not going to populate on that chart. That's not on the CMEs. 200 simple moving average. I don't see it on here either. Anyways. Okay, there's the green 55. That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't think we'll have a monthly closure below that green 55 at 22,400. There you go. Okay. Back on to what I was just about to show you. Monthly SOAPs crossing down. What were we talking about? Daily. I'm going to get on my other chart here. Just a second. Okay. So we were talking about the MACD crossing being valid. You know, if Bitcoin closes below 58,000 in the next 7 days, that cross is valid. And so what does this do? The higher term time frames, the most powerful time frames, guess what? This opens up a longer term bearish bias anyway. Until we see all of that, I think the lower term time frames are going to be where all the action is, and even the lower term time frames look bearish, right? A bearish reset, one more leg down again on the 4 hour. I do think we are going to fill out a bit, and that's fine. You know, hopium's not all over. Bitcoin can go down quite a bit and then come right back up 50%. You know, Bitcoin hits 30,000, jumps back up to 52,000, 50, that's almost a 60% rally. So, and that's exactly what I think is going to happen here. I think we're going to get some massive whiplashing price action. It's going to be a trader's paradise. Absolutely. I'm so happy. I couldn't be happier to get to work today on a Monday. Okay. And I'm still here at 6:45. So, very, very similar to, you know, 2018 price action. But what else that I want to point out here on our volatility indicator? And just again, this is a BBWP. And what you want to see is the BBWP. We want to see this thing get up to about a 90 percentile read, or yeah, somewhere, yeah, around 90 percentile, and even 100% for a few days. After that happens, I'm going to look for at least a 10% rally on Bitcoin. On top of that, you got the daily RSI. And the daily RSI, I don't think it's ever been this low, ever. Oh, take that back. 2 other times. That's on CMEs. Let's look on spot price. I think on spot price too. Yeah, there's 2 other times. When was that? March of 2020. Oops. And November 2018. So big, big crashes around that region. And here's one thing I'll tell you about the RSI that a lot of people have confused, absolutely confused. And what that is just so you know, there's no such thing as overbought or oversold in the RSI. There is no such thing. So RSI is used just for one thing. It's used to identify divergence between momentum and trend. It's divergence between momentum and trend. We've been going over this. So if, for instance, we're making lower highs here, but RSI is making higher highs, right? That is hidden bullish divergence. Anyways, I'm going to put out a video on how to identify bullish and bearish divergence, and then hidden bullish and bearish divergence. So be looking out for that. And yeah, wrapping up my thoughts here on Bitcoin. Best Bitcoin does to the upside on the daily time frame. Probably hits 39, 40,000. Let's say Powell gets it there on Wednesday and he goes, guess what? We're not going to do any rate hikes, and whoops, we're not even going to taper. I'm going to completely, it's the taper tantrum remake of what we saw in the past. Well, then something crazy is going on, and just forget everything I said today. Just kidding. But I would absolutely not incorporate any kind of macro change in my view on Bitcoin until Bitcoin gets back above this pivot right here at 44,300. Okay, guys, that is it. Forgive the sound quality. Forgive everything about the video. It's probably not that great. This is my third time trying to get this out. And guess what? I'm going to go home and cook dinner and join my family. It's Monday. Take care. God bless. I love you guys. Bye.